I'm sure many of us have fond memories of playing video games, and today I'm focusing on Nintendo. We were introduced to amazing worlds with crazy characters, and we could get lost in adventure. Many of us were young kids when we started playing and never thought about what, if any, real creatures these characters were based on. Well, let's talk about one in particular today, the tanuki. Let's start with Super Mario Bros. 3. That was one of my favorite games when I was a kid, and it's still beloved by many today. I know when I played that the tanuki suit was one of my favorite items. It was similar to the raccoon suit, but better. You had a tail and you could fly, just like the raccoon, but it did have one thing the raccoon suit didn't. You could transform into a statue and either be invincible to enemies, or even better, land on them and kill them. But unlike the raccoon suit and the frog suit, I had no clue what a tanuki was. Was this a real-world animal or just some creature from tall tales told eons ago? I was curious and really wanted to know, but I was a kid and then I forgot. Fast forward some years later, and another major game franchise with the tanuki made its debut. And that, of course, is Animal Crossing. Tom Nook, tanuki, Tom Nook, that's cute. Tom Nook is, of course, a tanuki. He's a shop owner and sells the player a house, and you need to work for him and pay him back, and later you can upgrade your home. I thought about it again. What is a tanuki? This time, I had the internet, and I could look things up quickly. So I did. First, was this a real creature? Why, yes it is. The tanuki is native to Japan, surprise, and related to wolves, fox, and domestic dogs. They eat just about anything, and they are the only canids to hibernate. They try to gain about 50% of their body weight before doing so. Sounds like a lot of people. Am I allowed to hibernate now? So now that I knew it was a real animal, and a cute and fluffy one at that, I wanted to know if there was any strange lore and how that might be represented in the game. As I kept exploring the lore, whew, boy was I surprised. I think I saw a picture first and, oh my, where is this research? This innocent inquiry of mine going to take me? Am I going to end up on a list? Well, moving on. But first, tell me in the comments, when did you first learn what a tanuki was? Or if a Nintendo game was your first introduction into this fluffy cutie. Okay, now let's start with some typical lore stuff first. They are said to shapeshift and deceive people, which they do in Super Mario Bros. 3. They shapeshift and act like a statue to mislead the enemies into leaving it alone. It is said that the tanuki likes to shapeshift as a monk, and that it's said to imitate human behavior and rituals, such as gathering in graveyards for funerals. They also like to imitate people, such as government officials, and harass you to pay your taxes? Okay. Well, Tom Nook might fit into this category. He is a shop owner, sells you something, and makes sure you pay him. It's close enough. On a side note, I know you're wondering, if they can shapeshift, how do I know if someone is a tanuki trying to trick me? Well, there will be signs. If it's raining out, their clothes will stay dry, since it's an illusion and not an actual garment. Maybe you can make them lose focus on their disguise, and a tail popping out will give you all the evidence you need to call them out. Now, they don't just shapeshift into people, but also objects, like maybe a statue, but also maybe a teapot. There is a story about a farmer who rescues a tanuki from a trap, and to thank the man, the tanuki transforms into a teapot that the farmer can sell and make some money. The tanuki, when exposed to heat, or being heated up for tea, transforms back into tanuki form, runs back to the farmer to be sold again and again, making the farmer rich. See, they're not always malicious. They are, however, said to throw rocks at people's houses to scare them. They're also said to make noises by drumming on their big round bellies, or shift the look of landscapes to get people lost in the woods. Well, they do have their share of malicious activities, I suppose. Now that we've covered the boring, normal stuff, let's talk balls. Balls, you say? Well, whatever could that mean? Eyeballs? Beach balls? No. Apparently, they massage their scrotum to become almost any object they may need. It can stretch so big they can use it as a tent, an umbrella, a boat, and it's big enough to smother an enemy if needed. Well, now that picture's in my head forever. If it can use its big balls to fly, and Mario can fly when... No, never mind. Back on topic. Balls. I think this addition to the lore was later in time, depicted more in art, because, well, that would get people's attention. This physical attribute is depicted in not just art, but also statues that you can visit. Mario Tanuki turning into a statue. We'll add that to the list. Now, despite how it would appear, this is not said to be a sexual thing, but the story goes that metal workers use the sack to hold gold and then hammer out the gold into very thin sheets. And to do that, you need a strong and stretchy skin, so that you can hammer the gold super thin and it will cover a large area. Like an entire room. The sacks were also sold as Lucky Charms and wallets, said to stretch your money, like they helped the metalworkers stretch their gold. Wow, and I thought a rabbit's foot was weird. It may be a stretch, but I guess Tom Nook, being a shopkeeper, getting lots of money from the player, might play into the gold and the financial aspect of the lore. I will quickly mention that there's an animated Studio Ghibli film, Pompoko, that tells about a colony of tanuki. I have not seen it, so I'll leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this quick look into what a tanuki is, and what sort of myth and lore accompanies it. I hope you also don't feel the need to bleach your eyes. I'm excited to cover more lore, creatures, myths, etc. from different games or movies, so I hope you'll stick around. Tell me in the comments if you have anything specific you'd like to see. Until next time!